we're live.
Good morning.
Hey, now I have to say I'm a little jealous, girlfriend. Tell me a little bit about what you did over the weekend.
Everett and I just went on a nice little Caribbean cruise. We spent 5 nights in the lovely Caribbean off of the Florida coast and just had absolute relaxation. Came back to reality last night, and this morning no one made my bed and no one picked up my cup of coffee from the table and no one served me my coffee, so I'm back to reality. So.
Oh gosh, boy, it's amazing how quickly that comes back, right?
Yeah, that was pretty stark reality check.
Like, oh my goodness. Okay, I am okay. So I'm going to click this link. So any of you who are out there who would like to give us comments, you have to. If you've already done it once, you don't have to do it again. But if you click this link, then that tells Facebook that it's okay for them to show your name. So I put that in the chat box, and then that also is a way I know that it's working. So and we always like to do that. A different way of spending Thanksgiving. Have you ever done that before on a holiday like that?
Never. Always been done the traditional family. You know, that's been our way of doing things. And it was nice. We did our family celebration the weekend before with my sisters, my mom, and the kids and all of that. We did that. It freed up the holiday, and it was just a great way for us to spend some time together and reconnect and re-energize as we go into this crazy busy season for so many.
Yeah, that sounds pretty awesome, actually. We this time, so we're just so everybody, you probably read the things, but we love Christmas. We love holidays, and so we're going to be talking this next month from now all through Advent about Christmas, everything Christmas. Why do we do Christmas? How do we do Christmas? When do we do Christmas? All that. So, but before we dive right into that, okay. Somebody who said, hi, Beth, good morning. And Andrea and Karen, it's like, woohoo. Thank you guys for being here. This is awesome. Now, your comments are supposed to be showing up here in the middle of the screen. Can't post them to something. Okay. So, but all I see is this is an example of the viewer's comment. But a couple of you have made comments, and so it should be showing that. But I'm not seeing that. Are you, Jennifer? You just see this?
I'm not. I'm just peeking. Yeah, all we have is this is the example is what's showing up on Facebook also. So I don't know how to change that.
No, it should automatically do. This is a new little thing they've added to this platform. And so one of the things, and this is something I'm learning, this just has nothing to do with our topic. This is just a little FYI as I continue to experiment through technology. What I found, there are just some platforms or apps or whatever you want to call them that don't work as well on other things. I had used Firefox for a long time, and then I couldn't do some of my online banking through Firefox, so then I would switch to something else. Almost all of them work with Chrome, but I'm kind of mad at Google and Chrome, so I try not to use that. But this platform right here, Be Live, that we're on, and numerous other ones just don't work as well on those other platforms. So however they're technically put together, I have no idea. So if you were ever having trouble, I was even on one of my Infusionsoft, which is my contact base of sending messages, and it will not show everything on either Firefox or Brave. Brave is my new favorite, but Be Live doesn't work on Brave, so there we go. But if you're ever trying to do something and it just is doing weird, change your browser, and that may actually fix it for you. So I didn't know that until these recent months. So just a little FYI technology, this tip this morning. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to take this off the screen then, since it's not. So Beth and Andrea and Karen, if you would just send me, since I see your names on there, just send me a quick message and tell me, are you on my personal page, the speaker page, or the Fun Fearless page? Because that may be also why it's not showing in the comments. So I'm going to take this off because it looks ugly without having a good comment there. There we go. So, but yeah, just let me know which of our pages or whatever that you're watching this morning. Okay. So I think maybe that's okay. Beth, thank you. Thanks for letting me know you're on the FFF page. So the good news is I didn't know if the comments would show here at all, and it does. So yay! And the okay, and Andrea is too. Great. Okay. But I think that maybe the reason it's not showing in those comments on the screen is it may only do that from the speaker page.
Because that's the main one, right?
Yeah. Maybe if they go to the speaker page, it'll do. I don't know. Okay, and Karen's on the personal page. So that actually answers the question I've wondered for a couple of weeks is if your comments would show in our chat box. So that's cool. Thank you. So here we are. So first of all, Jennifer, I know that the reason that we love Christmas, the most important reason, is the fact that it's Jesus' birthday. I mean, that's the whole of Christmas, right? Jesus is the reason for the season, as trite as the little sayings go. Sometimes you just say these things, but yeah, it really is. He is the reason. That's why we celebrate. And we're going to have in these next few weeks, Dr. Laura Christine, who is a pastor as well as a doctor of, I'm not sure what her actual title is, but kind of homeopathic things. And we're going to have her talk more about that, about the, just how the scriptures and the Advent and looking forward to the Savior. That's what we're doing. It's like we're in this anticipation mode, and that's why it's Advent. So we're going to talk more on that in the next couple of weeks, but we didn't want to start our series without saying why we're really here and why we really celebrate, right?
Right. Exactly. And that is the reason for the reason for the season. I mean, it sounds a little cliche, but it works so well to describe it.
Yeah, it is. So we were just talking that you went Thanksgiving weekend, you went on your cruise, and this weekend we did a little bit different in that because we're going to Kansas City for Christmas, I won't see my mother or my sister. So we decided to have our Christmas early. So I went down and picked up my mother, and then my sister and my nephew came down here. And it actually turned out to be really cool. We did it was really combo Thanksgiving Christmas dinner because we pretty much do the same thing on both holidays. But we had our big nice dinner. We set the table with our silver and crystal. And I have to tell you, I love a beautifully set table. I mean, I grew up that way, which is probably why. And so we did that. And then on Friday, we already had the tree set up. But then we decorated the tree and we did our gift giving. So I feel like I've already had Christmas because I've had Christmas with part of my family. And it was kind of cool. So it was a little change. We most always through the years have always kicked it off on the Friday after Thanksgiving. But this time we went a little further with it. So when do you start all your decorating and stuff?
Normally I would have started on Thanksgiving week. Believe it or not, depends on if I'm hosting or not, kind of what's going on. If I'm not hosting, my tree is usually put up the week of Thanksgiving. Just so that way it's one less thing out of my way, because I like to really decorate. So then I start to put everything else out and around. If I'm hosting, it kind of goes in the opposite. I actually will start to decorate the rest of my house, not set up my tree until after the dinner is done. So, but I started a little bit early because it makes me happy. I love Thanksgiving, but to me, it's a gathering of family and it's things I'm thankful for, and my house, my rules. I don't know how else to say it.
Well, absolutely.
And then next year, if we're on the home tour, which is our plan for our neighborhood, you will probably be hearing about me decorating for Christmas starting about the first to middle of October. Because this will be an explosion of Christmas to the nth degree. And okay. So so that's what we kind of will do. But that is completely separate and different and weird. So
okay, so Jennifer, if you're on the home tour, now you know already, or you have to wait to find out if you'll be.
Well, I know I'm on it. It's whether or not we get to have it, because we should have had it last year. We decided because of the pandemic we weren't able to, because there's thousands of people that come through your home. That is something. So next year, it will all depend on where we are sitting through the pandemic. If this is something we still want people walking there's different things of having a gathering of your family and your closest friends versus 1,000+ strangers walking through your home.
Yeah,
there's a little bit of things that are a little different in the middle of a pandemic. It puts some different thought processes in. So
absolutely,
the plan is to have it, yes, but and it's a big fundraiser for our neighborhood, and then we give a good portion to. There's a church in our neighborhood, and so we actually make a big donation of the ticket money to the church to help them out with their outreach. So
okay, if it happens next year, I more than likely will be in Kansas City for Christmas. I think that's going to be my norm from now on. And I want to come.
Yes.
Even if the tour is over, I want to come.
Yes. Yes. Definitely. And everybody will hear about me talking about this because it will be, I think Everett may move into a hotel for 2 months. I don't know. He's not going to enjoy. I've been buying specifically for this tour when things go on sale and different ideas. And it's
well, that is exciting.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. So also, I want to just remind everybody that on Mondays, you do a special something on Mondays. Mm-hmm. What do we call it? Meet Me Monday.
Meet Me Monday. Yep. So sometimes it's a question. Sometimes it's a topic, kind of throw it out there, see what everybody says. Yesterday, because I was traveling, coming back from my cruise, I was like, I don't have anything put together. But I had seen this little cartoon, and it just talked about viewpoints and making choices of how you look at things. And it just struck me. And, we traveled through Mexico and got to see, once we get away from the ports and you get more into the country, you see families that live in homes that are as big as a bedroom here in the United States. And they have an entire, but to them, it was home. The word home was important and the family was important. It was their viewpoint. They were not, woe is me, pity me. They were very happy in what they were doing and prepared us an amazing meal. And it was so much fun. And it's perspective. And, you and I talk about that. It's a matter of choice. And that's the way we look at things. And I think that's important.
And perspective really is because, you can look at going into the holidays and roll your eyes and say, oh, no, and of course, actually, since the pandemic, there hasn't been a lot of shopping like last year. And so there hasn't been a lot of, push and shove and all of that because you haven't been out. But, if you go down the road, well, here we are and woe is me. And, if you focus on the negative part, of which there is there, y'all, we never say it's not there.
Right.
But, what are you going to do with that? I'm choosing to keep with the perspective of this is Jesus' birthday. We're celebrating our Christian heritage. This is a time of joy and family and sharing. And, if you go into the season from that perspective, you enjoy it a whole lot more.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So. Yeah. And, in us, when we talked about the word prepare, one of the things that came to my mind, when we talked about this a little bit is preparing your expectations, setting your goals, your boundaries. We did that when all three of us girls, I have two sisters, all similar age. And there was a couple of years, us three girls didn't have a lot of extra money. And the concept and the burden of we have to buy gifts for other people and what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And we kind of had a little powwow between us three. And we went to mom and dad and we said, we can't do this on a grand scale. We can't afford it. And my mom and dad said, okay. Again, this was not a problem, but we just set out what our boundaries were. And we then set up very realistic. We come to an agreement. And that is a tradition we've carried forward going, ever since that, where are we at? What limit are we setting for gifts this year? Are we doing gifts? Are we doing a family experience? What are we going to do? But setting those up. And I would say for those of you that are parents, grandparents, those kind of things, ask your children and see if there is something they may not be sharing with you that maybe the son-in-law got laid off or got their hours cut or something different has changed. Maybe set what those expectations are. And if they're not telling you, find out what they are, because that takes away so much of the stress. I know someone that used to feel obligated to buy for everyone and buy big gifts. And the level of stress going into that was just so extreme until they finally said enough is enough. I will bake cookies for all my neighbors. I don't need to take them over each one of them a $20 gift. So.
Right. Oh, I love that. And I really, truly, I don't know if I would have thought of that, but that is a great one to really prepare and manage your expectations. And what was the second one you said, Jennifer? I wanted to write it down. Prepare it.
No, it's okay. And kind of setting what that goal is. To me, it's what is the ultimate objective? Again, we're giving gifts. But for us, again, in our family, some of ours have been tangible gifts. This year is going to be a tangible gift. That's what we're doing. That's what we chose to do. In years past, we've said, my mom we were all coming home, and the goal was that we spend as much time together as possible. There's still gifts for the little ones. Those things happen. But she prepared all of our favorite foods because we were going to be together for 5 days. And she asked the son-in-laws, everybody, what's your favorite recipe? And then she reached out to their moms and got their recipe for whatever that item was. And my mom prepared that. That was our gifts to each other. And then we told the stories behind why and all of those things. But the objective that year was really focusing on each other and our families. And not that the gift giving doesn't do that, but I don't know. It changes things when you find a different goal and figure out what it's going to be.
Yeah, I love that. And that, like your mom at that way, that took a lot more time and preparation and reaching out. That really is awesome. And that's really true. We kind of I'm going to blame my mother. She knows this is that she loves Christmas so much, and she is a giver. She loves to give. And she really set us all up for our adult life of over giving. And so, and we have had to do that, sometimes during, these years of, there's just some years financially from the buying gift situation that where we've been able to just give more of what we really want to give, and then other times when we need to, to pull back and different ones in our family, same thing, if you're, there's been times when, whatever, Justin didn't have a job or Alicia did whatever. And so we do kind of talk about it. But I love how you focus that. And it's like, okay, let's decide which is more important, or where is everybody this year?
Right. Yeah. And we've done the same thing. There was one year that it was an explosion of insanity. The Christmas presents went out for many, many yards in front of the Christmas tree. Again, we were all very blessed that year. And, and again, other years have been other things. And it's not, again, always so much about the money. Sometimes it's also the logistics. What does it look like? Who's traveling? Who's flying in and then flying back out? They don't want the crystal tea set or whatever. No, they don't want to have to pack that. Don't make them do that. Some of the logistics kick in, but we just have the conversation as adults. We set what the boundaries are. We tell my mom who she's allowed to buy presents for and who she's not. She's the rule breaker in this one. And we know it, we allow it.
And she's the mom. She's the matriarch, and my mother's the same way. It's like, and with my kids, it's like, well, I think I should give you whatever I want. You guys do whatever you want.
Yeah. And what we do as a gift for my mom, and again, this goes back to thinking on my dad's side of the family, what they always did was for grandma and grandpa was they paid for the year's subscription for the daily newspaper. There was a handful of things like that. That's what they did. They didn't need a million trinkets. They didn't need this and that. The grandkids, we all drew pictures for grandma and those things. I mean, that all still occurred, but they just didn't need a lot of little things. They were like, if you can do this, this, and this for us. And that's what someone said. If you're able to go buy a gift card for the grocery store where an elderly person lives, or say, you know what, I just put $100 on your electric bill this month because I know money's tight for you. You're on a fixed income. That means a lot. And that's important.
Those are great ideas.
And what we do for my mom, though, is I go out and we take pictures of all the grandkids. And so my mom every year knows she's going to get a set of photographs of the grandkids. And we do some individuals, we do some group shots, and that she looks forward to. She gets so excited every year, seeing what theme we went with, what we do, and such. So that's one of the things we try to do too. That way it just updates her and keeps her going. But it's important. But again, that to me is all in that preparing. We talk about these things in October We just come up with what it is before the chaos, and everything is going to come into play.
And we are tomorrow starting December 1st. So we have December 1st. We're kind of, but there is still time to do some of that preparation, whether it's have those discussions with your family or, whatever that is. It's nicer. I love the idea. Okay, let's talk in October. Now, my mother does. She begins that whole process from her perspective, which flows down to all of us, of course, because she has to anticipate. She now is, what did she tell me? And I know you've got a big family, but we have so many. My brother, who has 6 kids. Okay, so start there. Now they're all but one married, and now they're beginning to have the children. So she's a great grandmother to Simon. Last year, she was like, our number is up to about 35. She says, I cannot, I just can't. I said, I know, Mother. It's like, so don't, let's. She says, well, I'm going to just give to the babies. Great, But because her heart is so big and she wants to share and wants to do that, it's really hard for her not to. But I love that idea too, because again, what I hear from you, Jennifer, is like, if you're going out and taking pictures of all the grandkids, you are giving your gift, and I don't even know if that's your main gift, but your gift of the time and the energy. You're spending a lot of time and energy in preparation for taking those pictures.
Oh, yeah.
So she gets this wonderful gift. And of course, I don't live in the towns with any of my others, so I can't really do that. Although I guess I could have them send me a picture, but I know that, that would be a great thing, or go pull it off of Facebook or something.
Well, and that's the thing is, one year we digitized some old family movies, things like that, again, it's those little things. One of the things my mom and I've talked about is her starting to the grandkids again, because now the grandkids are getting older. We don't have the little ones anymore. Of sharing some of the items my dad collected that my mom just has in boxes, and maybe giving those as a gift and handwriting or telling the story. What that is. Mom's been handwriting recipes for each of us to put in a recipe book. So again, it doesn't always have to be about money. But again, you have to have a plan. And again, that goes back to this whole preparing thing. You do not get to do those things the night before Christmas gathering. This is not your last minute throw it together. You have to really be prepared for those things.
Yeah. I'm going to go over to the box here, Jennifer. Yes. Karen says that we're cutting out very badly. So my question, and I sent it to her, is are both of us cutting out? Because today it looks perfect from my perspective.
It's coming across really nice on mine too. So yes,
so anybody else have us cutting in or out? That would be great to know. Grace, good morning and happy holidays to you. Go back here. Michelle Cruz has gotten on in the meantime and saying good morning, like yay. And Karen, thanks, because Karen also was telling me, and I love it when you guys give the comments, because we don't always know from our perspective what y'all are seeing, etc. So. But she says you don't see anybody. So you're not even seeing your comments on here. And I tried to reset the screen again. It did not do that, because it'd be really cool to get all those up there. I like the idea of it, but it hasn't been up there. And then Andrea is on here too this morning. So yay. So I love it that you guys are giving those. Oh, and Terry, good morning. And Terry says, no, it's good. Okay, so she's not floating in. Video has something. Let's see, I got to move my screen. Video has paused a couple of times, but only for a few seconds at a time. Okay.
Well, I guess that's good to know. And again, we never know unless we hear it from you guys. So thank you for that. That's technology is great. But yeah, we can't always see everything. So.
I know. Well, I did I have to say, I think this is the coolest thing because now I've completed it, and it really, so, in the last couple of months, we decided that even though we weren't moving, we were going to follow through on starting to clean things out. You don't have to wait to move to clean your files and stuff out. So I had 7 file cabinets in my garage, went through all my music, got rid of all older tax returns and all this stuff. So as I was going through, I have several through the years, and I'm sure all of you do this to some degree, kept the cards that I just thought were particularly nice or sweet or something one of my kids wrote to me. And so I had like 3 file folders, bulging, I might of cards. And I thought, so one night after I finished cleaning all those out, I just brought those folders in and I started going through them. And I was like, what could I do with these? So I took them all. And y'all might have heard this. So if I'm repeating, I apologize. But I took them to a school supply place where they do this and laminated them all. And then I would sit for a couple of nights, cutting around all the laminate because they were big rolls. It's like, I think it was like 40 feet of laminating. Yeah, over 100 cards. And so I thought, okay. And so, my sister, and I had a couple from my dad and a couple from my mom. My mom, she usually just signs love you and her name. My sister writes a book. When she sends that, she loves, and she's very sentimental and writes all these things, but they're precious. I mean, that's the point. So after laminating, and then I got them all cut out. I punched a hole in them and used pipe cleaners. Did you know there's sparkly pipe cleaners? I didn't know. I didn't know there were. I thought they were all just boring plain. But they're sparkly pipe cleaners. So the pipe cleaners became the what I would hang the card on the tree with. So I'm going to post later. I'm going to post a picture of the tree because it came out pretty cool. You won't be able to see and read really what the cards say, but you'll just say this sheet of cards floating all over my tree. So it was something kind of different to do. It meant so much to me. I mean, I'm the one who got really blessed because I got to go read through all those cards and just such sweet comments through the years, over the last, 40 years. Mm-hmm. And so if you, excuse me, if you've always wondered something you could do with that, and then I had some that were too big, like Justin and Alicia would do a picture at 8.5 by 11. Well, that's a little bit too big to hang on the tree. So I made a garland on my fireplace of those cards where I put the string through. So anyway, just as an idea, as you prepare and get ready for Christmas, you might. But that is another one of those that really you can't decide tomorrow. Decide on the 23rd and it be done on the 25th or whatever.
Right. Yep. Exactly. And again, going back to what Everett and I did, prepare yourself. Take a few moments, a little self-care, and just be ready. We know it gets chaotic. We know it's happy. We know it's stressful. We know just going to the grocery store to pick up the gallon of milk, but you've got the first-time chef who's going to try to bake the big old whatever, who's in there shopping and is stressed out and all of that. Just take a deep breath and it's all going to be fine. It always is.
It always is.
Yeah, that to me is the other thing. We just have to, sometimes, but I feel like I'm ready to take on the world. So
yeah. And I think as part of that too is that the preparing your heart and your soul. Maybe instead of waiting till Christmas Eve to read the Christmas story, why not read it now? Early and begin to just think about that. I think the thing that most amazes me, and I can't remember, I'll look it up for you guys, but I think it's in Hebrews, and it talks about how Jesus came down, and the translation means that he wrapped himself in our humanity. And I think of that as like a robe. So the glory, divinity, God himself, came down to earth and he wrapped himself in our humanity, put on our human skin so he could really live with us and understand what it's like to be a friend. And that visual picture is like, why would you do that? To leave the glory of heaven to come down here because he loved us so much. And so when we began early to think about that, and again, we'll continue to talk about the whole purpose, because we'll talk about that every week. I'm sure it will come in. So I just encourage you to, this week, read the Christmas story, do a little bit of that, preparing your hearts, because then everything you do will give you more joy, because if you remember why we're doing it, and Christ's love, I think, just begins to overflow. So, and even if you're having to wear a mask, like here in Las Vegas, do you have to wear a mask there, Jennifer?
Yep. And we did on our entire cruise.
Oh, you did? Okay. Yep. Did you sit out by the pool? Did you have to have it on when you're sitting
you didn't have to while you were sitting on the pool. Believe it or not, most people still did unless they were actively sunbathing. That was not a requirement. That was a choice by most people on the cruise. So yeah, it was we only were required to going into the dining rooms and the theater. But other than that, we didn't have to. But most people chose to.
Okay.
It's a different feeling. So yeah.
So if you're in a city where you are still wearing masks, and so obviously there in Kansas City and here, you can still greet people with a happy face.
And you can get a really cool one like this.
And your eyes, you guys, your eyes are really important. So ladies, put a little extra eye makeup on, okay? So then when you see someone, you can open your eyes and you could do a little nod your head and look at them, maybe make a little eye contact, instead of us, how we kind of just don't pay attention sometimes, but some way. And I think I'm going to just periodically just pull it down and smile and put it back up again.
There you go.
So we can still smile, we can still be happy and all of that while we're out there, no matter what's going on in the world.
Yep, exactly.
So anyway, well, hey, guess what? It's 8:00. We're at the top of the hour.
It is.
So I love your comments, Jennifer. We never know exactly where we're going on these discussions.
Never do, because again, we never plan it other than a one-word topic, and so yes.
There we go. So one last comment you want to leave for the group before we head out this morning. Good morning, Mary Helen. Nice to see you.
Yeah, I was going to say just, Mary was pregnant for 9 months. The birth of Christ does not happen in 2 to 3 days. So that is also part of the preparation. So just reflect on that and just set a plan, let things happen. And whatever doesn't happen is the way it was supposed to happen. So don't worry.
There you go. I think the not worrying is a really good one. Yeah. And just not let yourself get so overwhelmed. Just take a breath, and it's all going to be okay, and we're going to have a great time.
Exactly.
Thank you, Andrea. Andrea says, thank you, ladies, for bringing joy and positivity each week. So you are very welcome. It is our joy to do that, as a matter of fact. So I love you guys. Thanks so much. I will post the picture. Matter of fact, I did a little video. Maybe I'll just send the video. I'll post it on there too. As you prepare and as you do, prepare your heart to prepare your soul for this joyous season. And remember that life is not a matter of chance. It's a matter of choice. Choose to be positive and share the joy of Christ for this whole Advent season. That'd be a great choice to make. Mm-hmm. All right, everybody. Go out and make it a great week. And love you and thank you. Bye, guys.